In the year 2347, Earth had changed. Humanity had spread beyond the solar system, and for the first time, humans and aliens shared cities, homes, and even jobs. But for Ethan Cole, a quiet engineer living on the colony world of New Haven, life was still simple. Lonely, but simple. Ethan lived alone in a small metal home near the outer rim of the colony. He had no family left and spent his days repairing machines that kept the colony's atmosphere stable. It wasn't a glamorous job, but it was necessary. Machines didn't complain, didn't betray, and didn't leave. Ethan liked that. One morning, the doorbell rang. Outside stood a tall figure wrapped in a silver cloak. Her eyes were large, bright like liquid sapphire, and her skin had a faint glow that shimmered when sunlight touched it. "I am Lyra," she said softly, her voice calm and clear. "The service registry assigned me here. I am your household assistant." Ethan frowned. "An alien maid?" "Yes," she said, bowing slightly. "From the planet Valora. I will clean, cook, and assist you in your work if needed." He sighed. "I didn't request one." "The colony system requested on your behalf," she replied. "You have no companion listed in 5 years. It is part of the Health and Stability Program." Ethan rubbed his forehead. "Government programs," he muttered. But he let her in. Lyra entered silently. Every movement she made seemed graceful, almost too perfect. She started cleaning, adjusting and organizing everything with quiet efficiency. Within an hour, the small house looked new again. Ethan watched her work. She didn't speak unless spoken to. When she did, her words were measured, polite, and strangely soothing. That night, while Ethan ate dinner, Lyra stood near the kitchen console. "Would you like me to play music while you eat?" she asked. He shook his head. "No, silence is fine." Understood, the silence wasn't awkward, it was peaceful. Yet Ethan noticed something unusual. Every time he looked up, Lyra seemed to be studying him. Not in a cold or calculating way, but curiously, as if she was trying to understand him. Over the next few weeks, Ethan grew used to her presence. She cooked strange but delicious meals. Soft glowing fruits, silver rice, and steaming soups that smelled like rain. She adjusted the home temperature to perfect levels and even fixed his broken equipment without asking. Still, there was something odd about her. At times, Ethan caught her staring at the night sky through the window, whispering something in her own language. Once he asked, "You miss your world?" She smiled faintly. Valora was beautiful, but it was not peaceful. You humans brought peace even if you did not mean to. He didn't know what that meant, but he didn't ask further. One evening, a storm hit New Haven. The magnetic winds howled, shaking the colony domes. Power flickered. Ethan was outside trying to secure the stabilizer panels when lightning burst across the sky, splitting the metal rod beside him. "Ethan!" Lyra ran out, faster than any human could move, and grabbed him, pulling him away just as another strike hit. They fell into the mud. He stared at her, stunned. Her skin glowed bright blue under the lightning. You're shielding me?" Her eyes glowed faintly. "Yes, my kind can absorb electrical energy. Please stay inside." She stood between him and the storm until it passed. When the wind calmed, she was still glowing faintly, her energy shielding fading slowly. Ethan looked at her, rain dripping from his hair. "You didn't have to do that," Lyra tilted her head. "It is my function to protect you," he sighed. "Still, thank you," her gaze softened. "You are welcome, Ethan Cole." That night, the power grid was down, so they lit small plasma lamps. The room was quiet except for the gentle hum of the lights. Ethan sat at the table, repairing a broken panel. Lyra stood nearby, watching the rain hit the dome. Finally, she said, "Humans are strange." He looked up. "We are? You fear being alone, yet you build walls to keep others away. You want peace, yet you fight to prove your worth. You are kind, but you do not believe in your kindness." Ethan smiled weakly. "And what about your kind?" "You seem perfect," Lyra shook her head. "Perfection is a cage. On Valora, every choice is calculated. Every bond is measured. No one chooses from the heart. I wanted to see what it means to feel." Her last word hung in the air like soft music. Ethan didn't reply. He didn't know how. Days passed and life returned to normal. But something had changed. Lyra smiled more often. She hummed softly while working, and sometimes Ethan caught himself smiling too. She began helping him in the workshop, learning about his machines. She was curious, always asking, always learning. One day, while they worked side by side, Ethan asked, "Why do you help me? You could just follow your orders, keep the house clean and rest." She looked at him, her eyes glowing faintly. "Because you treat me as more than a machine. You speak to me as if I matter," he blinked. "You do matter." Her lips curved in a small, fragile smile. "Then, that makes you the first human to ever say that to a Valoran." That night, after another long day, Ethan sat by the window. Lyra entered quietly, holding 2 cups of hot liquid that smelled like sweet metal. "I made you something," she said. "It's a Valoran drink. It helps calm the mind." He accepted it. "Thank you." They sat together in silence, looking at the distant lights of other domes shining through the storm clouds. Finally, she spoke again, her voice soft. "Ethan, may I ask something strange?" He looked at her. "Sure." Her glowing eyes met his. "Can we do it again tonight?" He froze. "Do what again?" She tilted her head slightly. "Talk, sit like this. Share silence. Share warmth. I do not understand why, but it makes me feel whole." Ethan exhaled, a slow, surprised laugh escaping him. "You scared me for a second there." Lyra smiled. "I apologize if my words confused you. I'm still learning how humans speak." He chuckled. "You're doing fine, Lyra." They stayed there for hours, just talking about stars, machines, and dreams. For the first time in years, Ethan didn't feel like a man surrounded by walls. He felt alive. Later, when Lyra returned to her quarters, Ethan watched her go. He realized something that unsettled him deeply. She wasn't just a servant, not anymore. She was something more. Something human in spirit, if not in form. And for the first time since his family died, Ethan found himself afraid of losing someone again. The next morning, Ethan woke up earlier than usual. The storm had passed, leaving the sky clear and bright. He stood near the window, watching the first light of dawn touch the colony domes. The world outside looked peaceful, but his mind wasn't. All night he kept thinking about Lyra's question, "Can we do it again tonight?" It sounded so innocent, yet it carried a warmth he hadn't felt in years. He didn't know what to make of it. She was an alien, a guest, a helper sent by the government. Yet every time she looked at him, he saw something deeper. Curiosity, kindness, and a strange sadness she tried to hide. When Lyra entered the room that morning, she looked different. Her silver blue eyes seemed brighter, her steps lighter. "Good morning, Ethan," she said with a small smile. "I prepared breakfast. I hope it suits your taste." He sat down, still studying her quietly. "You've been learning fast," he said. "Those circuits you fixed yesterday, that wasn't beginner's work." "I watched how you repaired them," she said softly. "It was logical to follow your methods." Ethan smiled faintly. "Logical, huh? You're starting to sound human." She tilted her head. "Is that a compliment?" "It is," he said, chuckling. "A big one." Lyra seemed pleased by that. Later that day, Ethan went to the atmosphere station, a facility where he worked with a small team maintaining the colony's life support systems. The job was routine, checking oxygen filters, replacing energy cells, and running diagnostics. But all morning his thoughts drifted back to the quiet house and the strange alien woman waiting inside it. His co-worker, Mara, noticed his distraction. "You okay, Cole? You look like your brain's orbiting Jupiter." He shrugged. "Just tired." She said with a teasing grin. "You've got that look. The one people get when they start caring about someone again." Ethan frowned. "It's not like that." "Sure," she said. "But be careful. These alien assistants, some of them are more than they seem." He raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" Mara lowered her voice. "You didn't hear? There's a rumor. Some of the Valorans, they're not just helpers. They're observers. The Galactic Council sent them to study human emotion." Ethan froze. "Study us?" "Yeah," Mara said. "They say humans are unpredictable. Too emotional, too brave, too chaotic. The Valorans want to understand why we keep surviving when others give up." Ethan's heart sank a little. "So that's what she's doing here? Studying me?" He didn't like that thought. When he returned home that evening, Lyra was sitting quietly near the holographic window, looking at the stars. She didn't turn when he entered, but she said softly, "You seem troubled." He sighed, dropping his tool bag. "Just tired from work." She turned to him, her glowing eyes gentle. "You are lying, Ethan Cole." He blinked, surprised. "How do you know that?" "Your heartbeat changes when you hide pain." Velaran's can sense small vibrations, he chuckled dryly. That's impressive, she stood up slowly. Please tell me. I wish to understand, Ethan hesitated. Finally, he said, Someone told me the Valorans came here to study humans, to watch how we act, how we feel. Is that true? Lyra didn't answer at once. Her expression dimmed, the glow in her eyes fading slightly. Yes, she said finally. It is true, Ethan's chest tightened. So that's why you're here. I'm your experiment? Her voice broke slightly. No, you are my teacher, he repeated. Yes, she said. My mission was to learn how humans connect, to understand the emotion you call empathy. My people lost it long ago. We live by logic, by order. But you humans, even in chaos, you care. You risk your lives for others. You forgive, you hope. That is why I came. Ethan was silent for a long time. Lyra looked down. If you wish, I can request reassignment. I did not mean to deceive you. He sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. No, you didn't deceive me. You just didn't tell me everything. She looked up, surprised. You are not angry? He smiled faintly. Maybe I should be, but somehow I'm not. Her expression softened again, relief glowing in her eyes. Thank you, Ethan. Over the next few days, their bond grew even deeper. Lyra no longer spoke like a servant. She laughed, asked questions, even teased him sometimes. She had started painting small designs on the metal walls, soft glowing patterns from her homeworld that pulsed gently at night like living art. Ethan began sharing stories from Earth, about oceans, forests, and sunsets. Lyra listened with fascination. I have never seen a sea, she whispered once. Is it true that it sings? Ethan smiled. In a way, yes. The waves crash, the wind whistles. It's loud but peaceful. She nodded slowly. I would like to hear it one day. Maybe you will, he said. If we ever go back, she looked at him curiously. Would you take me there? Her question caught him off guard. You'd want to go with me? Yes, she said simply. Where you go, I would like to go too. Ethan didn't answer, but his heart felt strangely full. One night, a strange signal interrupted the colony's communications. A high-frequency pulse flashed across every device, followed by static and a voice speaking in Velaran. Lyra froze instantly, her glowing eyes widening. Lyra? Ethan asked. What is it? She didn't answer. Her expression turned distant, almost fearful. It's a call from my kind. They are recalling all observers back to the central hub. Ethan frowned. Why? Her voice shook slightly. Something is happening. They said humans have become unpredictable, dangerous. They believe the connection between our species is changing us. Ethan stared. Changing you how? She looked at him with trembling eyes. They say emotions are a disease, and they fear I am infected, the words hit him hard. That's not a disease, Lyra, that's being alive. She took a shaky breath. They will come for me tomorrow. Ethan stood up. You're not going anywhere if you don't want to. She shook her head sadly. If I resist, they will deactivate me. He froze. Deactivate? My body is biological, she explained softly. But my neural core is controlled from orbit. They can end my life with a command. Ethan clenched his fists. That's not right. You saved me from that storm. You learned, cared, lived here. You're not just some experiment. Lyra stepped closer, her voice trembling. Ethan, please. Do not fight them. You cannot win against the Council. He met her gaze fiercely. Maybe not. But I'm not letting them take away the first real person I've cared about in years. Lyra blinked, startled. Person? Yes, he said firmly. You stopped being my maid a long time ago. That night, neither of them slept. Ethan worked secretly in his workshop, trying to disable the tracking beacon that might allow the Valorans to locate her. Lyra watched him silently, her expression a mix of fear and awe. Finally, she spoke. You are risking everything for me. Why? He didn't look up. Because it's what humans do. We protect those we care about, even when the odds are impossible. Her eyes glowed brighter, and a tear, a shimmering drop of light, fell down her cheek. I understand now, she whispered. This feeling you call in love, it is not logical, yet it gives strength. Ethan looked at her, his chest tight. Yeah, that's what makes it real. As the first light of dawn touched the colony, an alarm echoed across the horizon. A Velaran shuttle had entered the atmosphere, searching for one of their own. Lyra stood near the window, her voice trembling. They are here. Ethan grabbed his toolkit, his jaw set. Then we'd better be ready. She turned to him, her voice breaking. They will not stop. They will erase me if I do not comply. He met her gaze calmly. Then they'll have to go through me first. Lyra stepped closer, placing her glowing hand over his. Humans truly are impossible. And that, he said with a faint smile, is why we survive. The Valoran shuttle glimmered in the pale morning sky, cutting through New Haven's atmosphere like a silver knife. Its engines hummed with energy that vibrated through the colony, alerting every citizen. Ethan Cole stood in his workshop doorway, toolkit in hand, but his mind was on Lyra. Lyra's glowing eyes met his. They will not negotiate. They will extract me, and my neural core will be erased if I resist. Ethan swallowed hard. Then we fight smart, not reckless. You taught me logic, remember? Her lips curved faintly. I taught you the tools. You bring courage, Ethan chuckled softly, and stubbornness. Together they moved toward the landing site. The shuttle hovered above the colony plaza, its hull shimmering alien symbols glowing faintly. A ramp extended, and a small team of Valoran observers descended. They were sleek, tall and silver-skinned like Lyra, but their eyes were colder, sharper, and calculating. One stepped forward. Lyra of Valora, return to the council immediately. Compliance is required. Lyra's glowing eyes dimmed. I will not comply. Not anymore. Ethan felt a surge of pride and fear. You heard her. We're leaving together, now. The first Valoran moved toward them with lightning speed. Ethan rolled instinctively and hurled a magnetic wrench, which hit the alien's arm and disrupted its balance. Lyra's body glowed intensely as she absorbed and redirected the energy from the colony's nearby power lines, creating a barrier that knocked the Valorans back. You're stronger than I thought, Ethan said, ducking behind a transport crate. I am not strong alone, Lyra said. But together we can survive. Trust me, Ethan nodded. For the first time he felt their connection as something beyond simple companionship. She wasn't just his assistant, she was his partner in every sense of the word. The Valoran squad advanced, their weapons crackling with energy. Ethan grabbed a small drone from his workshop and tossed it into the air. It hovered silently, emitting a pulse that temporarily blinded their sensors. Lyra seized the moment, pushing Ethan behind her as she moved with superhuman speed. Follow me, she said. They ran through the narrow streets of New Haven, ducking behind dome supports and weaving through glowing pipelines. Ethan marveled at her agility. How can you move like that? She glanced back. When your life is tied to someone else's heart, the body responds in ways it never did before. He smiled, though fear tightened his chest. Then I guess I'll have to keep up. They reached the outskirts of the colony where Ethan had prepared a small hovercraft in secret. Its engines were barely functioning, but it would be enough to get them off the planet. Lyra paused, looking at him with a serious expression. Ethan, once we leave, the council may never allow you to return. Are you prepared for that? He swallowed. I am. I don't want to go back to a life without you. She stepped closer. Then take my hand. Together they activated the hovercraft. Its engines roared, lifting them just as the Valorans reached the plaza edge. The shuttle fired pulses of energy, striking the ground, but Ethan maneuvered with surprising skill. Lyra's glowing energy shield absorbed several blasts, keeping them safe. Once above the clouds, the vastness of space spread before them. Stars shimmered, distant and beautiful, untouched by politics or fear. Lyra floated beside him in zero gravity, her glow reflecting off the cockpit walls. Where will we go? Ethan asked. Somewhere humans have never been, she said softly. A place where I can truly learn what it means to feel, and you can see what it means to survive beyond fear. Ethan looked at her. I think I already know. It's not the place, it's you. You make it worth surviving. Her eyes glimmered brighter than ever. Then I am glad my mission led me to you. The next few hours were tense. The Valoran Council dispatched a larger ship to intercept them. Ethan and Lyra had to rely on quick thinking, ingenuity, and the bond they had formed to evade detection. Using a combination of stealth maneuvers, magnetic pulses, and Lyra's energy manipulation, they dodged patrols, slipping through asteroid fields and abandoned satellites. At one point, Ethan whispered, I never thought I'd be running through space with my alien maid. Lyra laughed, a soft melodic sound that made the cold void of space feel warmer. I am not your maid. I am your companion, and your equal. He smiled, feeling the weight of every lonely year lift from his shoulders. I think I like this title better. As they approached a distant, uncharted planet, Lyra's voice softened. This world is untouched. No council, no humans, no Velerans. We can study together, learn together, live without fear. Ethan grinned, his hands gripping the controls. A fresh start. Lyra nodded, her glowing form hovering beside him. Yes, but remember, we must always remember who we are. Humans and Velorans together, learning from each other. He felt a warmth in his chest. For the first time, he understood the true meaning of HFY. Humans surviving not through violence, but through courage, empathy, and connection. The hovercraft touched down gently on the new planet. It was a vibrant world with soft green forests, crystal-clear rivers, and twin suns rising in the horizon. Lyra stepped out, her feet sinking slightly into the soft soil. It's beautiful, Ethan whispered. It is, she agreed, but it is more beautiful because you are here. Because we are free to choose, to feel, to live. Ethan took her hand. We'll build a life here. Together. She smiled, a glow radiating warmth across the alien landscape. Together, she echoed. Over the next weeks, they explored the planet. Ethan mapped the terrain and studied its resources, while Lyra learned about human emotion, laughter, and hope. They built a small home together, not as servant and master, but as equals, partners in survival and discovery. One evening, under the twin suns' fading light, Lyra asked, Ethan, do you think humans can change even the council? He thought for a moment. Maybe, one step at a time. One act of courage at a time. They see fear. We show hope. That's how humans win, by refusing to give up. Lyra's glow pulsed gently, almost like a heartbeat. Then perhaps I will teach them too. Teach them what it means to feel. Ethan looked at her, his chest swelling with pride. You already have. Months passed, and the duo became legends in their own right. Across the galaxy, whispers spread of a human and a Veleran who defied their rules, who escaped the most powerful council in the galaxy, and who survived, not through force, but through courage, compassion, and trust. Ethan often looked at Lyra, his mind still amazed that an alien from a distant planet could feel so deeply, think so freely, and care so fiercely. Lyra looked at him the same way, learning what it meant to truly connect with another being. And on the quiet nights, when they watched the stars together, Ethan realized that the universe was no longer cold or lonely. It was full of possibilities because they had chosen each other. The story of Ethan and Lyra became one of hope, courage, and the power of the human heart. Not a story of wars or victories alone, but of connection, understanding, and the simple, profound act of caring for someone, even across worlds, species, and the boundaries of life itself. Humans had survived against all odds. And in that survival, they had discovered something far greater: the ability to love, to trust, and to inspire even the stars themselves.